David, Crawford will fight you if he beats Canelo.
You can't take Crawford's skill away. You know, you have to give him credit for skill. You know, he's an amazing fighter. He's an amazing technician in the ring. And
Benavidez is like 6 foot something. You know what I mean? Then you gonna come in 190, 200 probably. You know what I mean? Like you never know. Like that's a big dude. Like you know what I mean?
And he's skilled, man.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I might as well go to heavyweight if I fight Benavidez.
After taking down one of boxing's biggest stars, Terence Crawford and his team are now focused on a dangerous new challenge, David Benavidez. The same fighter many believe Canelo Alvarez stayed away from for years is now becoming Crawford's next possible target.
I think it's like 64.
David, Crawford will fight you if he beats Canelo.
I wouldn't fight Crawford. I'm at 175.
Everyone knew Terence Crawford wasn't going after Canelo Alvarez just for a payday. He wanted to build his legacy, prove his greatness, and secure his place in boxing history. Now, as he continues that journey, Team Crawford is setting its sights on the top threat at 168 pounds, David Benavidez, the fighter known as the Mexican Monster.
When you'd want to see Bud fight in this era, that you think, you know what, that'd be a great fight.
Well, I would say Benavidez, but he's too, you know, that weight class is too high for him. So, you know, where he's at now is...
If this fight happens, it would need to take place at super middleweight, the division where David Benavidez feels most comfortable. But here's the interesting part. Terence Crawford has already proven at 168 pounds that he's not just able to compete there, he can truly dominate.
Out here, Kamaru, Terence Crawford versus the Mexican Monster, David Benavidez.
I knew it was coming.
He was the mandatory for Canelo.
Oh my God. Relax.
What's up? The scariest guy in the division.
He's not in the division.
He said he could still make 168 pounds. The reason why he was up because nobody...
Against Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford looked incredibly quick, sharp, and impossible to catch, making Canelo miss again and again. Now imagine that same speed and ring intelligence against the naturally bigger and non-stop pressure of David Benavidez. That kind of matchup could completely shake up the boxing world.
Talking about Crawford.
Oh, Crawford and Benavidez.
He said he wondered if Benavidez can make 168.
We just talked to Womack and he was like, nah, we don't want to do that.
I just think Benavidez, he's like, what, 6'5", 6 something like that? He's a big...
Turki Alalshikh has been celebrating Terence Crawford's huge victory, and now he's creating even more buzz online. He recently posted on X asking if David Benavidez can still make the 168-pound limit, a strong sign that a possible Crawford versus Benavidez showdown could already be in the conversation.
Alalshikh posted on social media asking if David Benavidez is still capable of making it down to 168. Now, we're not sure if this little tease that Turki made was targeted as a hint for a future fight between Crawford and Benavidez, or Canelo versus Ben.
But here's the interesting part. David Benavidez doesn't seem very eager to fight Terence Crawford right now. And that sounds a lot like what happened with Canelo Alvarez in the beginning. At first, Canelo wasn't sold on facing Bud either, but once a massive payday entered the picture, the fight quickly became a reality. That's the influence of Turki Alalshikh. When that level of money gets involved, opinions can change very fast. Fighters may talk about legacy, but huge 9-figure offers can instantly turn hesitation into excitement.
Bud needs a Benavidez. And then that would mean Benavidez would have to go into a different body and bring himself back down to 68 when he's already getting settled in at 175. That's just Turki trying to pull rank. Turki trying to show he got a golden arm.
This is where things get really interesting, because after all the talk about big money-making fights happen, Terence Crawford finally shared his thoughts on facing David Benavidez, and you can hear the respect in his words. Crawford clearly sees how dangerous Benavidez is, even joking that taking that fight would feel like stepping in with a heavyweight. It was his way of admitting that Benavidez is no ordinary opponent, and that facing him would be one of the toughest challenges of his career.
You were at 168. When we think about anybody at 168 outside of Canelo, the first name that comes to anybody's mind is David Benavidez. What about the potential for a fight like that?
Oh, like I said, man, that's a big dude. You know what I mean? He ain't even at 168. You know, when you look
right now, it's at 175, yeah.
He probably can't even make 168 no.
And honestly, David Benavidez really does look massive when he steps into the ring, almost like a fighter from a heavier division. But despite that size advantage, Terence Crawford still believes his speed, timing, and overall skill set can make the difference. That's the confidence Bud has always carried. He can recognize how dangerous an opponent is and still believe he has the tools to beat them. That mindset is a big reason fans respect him so much, because he never backs away from a challenge and always approaches fights with a smart, calculated mentality.
When you look at these fights, you know, especially coming up, you gotta be realistic. You gotta, you know, say, all right, you know, how big is this dude really is? Because David Benavidez, he can fight his ass off. You know, me personally, I believe in my skills and my ability.
To Terence Crawford, size doesn't change the game. In his mind, he's still the one controlling everything in the ring. It's almost funny hearing Bud talk about David Benavidez like he's this massive giant, while still sounding completely confident that he can beat him. That's what makes Crawford different. He treats even the toughest challenges like business as usual. But just as fans started getting excited about the matchup, Robert Garcia stepped in with a more cautious opinion, almost like someone reminding everyone not to get carried away too quickly.
He should have maybe fought Benavidez instead, and maybe that would have been a better fight for him.
Who?
Benavidez.
Oh no, Benavidez would destroy him. Not even close. Just like Benavidez would destroy Crawford.
Honestly, hearing Robert Garcia say that David Benavidez would beat both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford was shocking. It felt like he instantly shut down all the excitement around the fantasy matchup. But Garcia was simply being real about how dangerous Benavidez is. In his view, Crawford may be a once-in-a-generation fighter, but Benavidez brings a level of size, pressure, and power that could create serious problems for anyone. Even so, the way Garcia said it so confidently definitely caught people off guard, especially when he made it sound like Crawford had absolutely no chance.
Well, would beat these two guys, I would say.
Robert Garcia didn't even pause before shutting the idea down completely. But even with all the respect for how dangerous David Benavidez is, people have said the same thing about opponents being too big or too strong for Terence Crawford before, and somehow Bud always finds a way to surprise everyone. That's what makes him so exciting to watch. No matter how tough the challenge looks on paper, he keeps proving doubters wrong. And honestly, if this fight ever becomes reality, boxing fans everywhere would gladly pay to see it.
And like I said, Crawford is one of my favorites of all times now because of what he just accomplished, what he just did. But Benavidez is too big for him, too fast, too strong. I wouldn't even want to see it. Canelo, Benavidez.
Garcia already shocked fans with his strong opinion, but then Shane Mosley took things to another level with a huge statement. Mosley actually suggested that Terence Crawford could be even better than Floyd Mayweather Jr., and that instantly grabbed everyone's attention. What made it even crazier was how confident he sounded while explaining it. Mosley praised Mayweather's technical brilliance but said Crawford brings a different style with his reach, toughness, old-school mentality, and ability to fight effectively in any situation.
Mayweather, so, you know, maybe it was just different because Crawford's arms are long. His arms are really long, so it's kind of hard to hit him, but no, he did everything, man. He's
You can argue against Shane Mosley's opinion, but a lot of fans understand why he feels that way about Terence Crawford. It's the kind of debate that instantly gets the whole boxing world talking, from TV analysts to fans in barbershops arguing for hours about whether Crawford belongs above Floyd Mayweather Jr. That's what makes conversations like this so exciting and unforgettable. Then Mosley added even more drama by bringing up retirement talk for Canelo Alvarez, saying Canelo has already achieved enough in boxing and could eventually focus on training fighters or even take a massive money fight with Jake Paul.
Try it. Yeah, I mean, Canelo is more so into training, probably fighters and helping people. You know, like he already did what he needed to do. There's nothing really more he can do in the sport.
Only in boxing can conversations jump from GOAT debates straight to imagining Canelo Alvarez stepping in with Jake Paul in a crossover fight. That's part of what makes the sport so unpredictable. Fans are watching history unfold with Terence Crawford continuing to prove he's something special, while the legacy of Floyd Mayweather Jr. still hangs over every major debate. And when voices like Shane Mosley speak, they only add more fuel to the fire. If a fight like Canelo versus Jake Paul ever happened, the reaction would be massive and the internet would likely explode with attention. That's the kind of chaos boxing fans can't help but love.
Would you think Bud would retire? I didn't actually ask you that. Do you think Bud could call it a day?
He probably will retire for a year, maybe. If he does, a year or 2 years like that, right? A year. But he's coming back.
Yeah.
He's coming back. He's a fighter. He's coming back.
Right after Shane Mosley made that bold claim about Terence Crawford possibly being better than Floyd Mayweather Jr., Simon Jordan stepped in with a very business-minded take. He pointed out the huge money gap in boxing today, especially comparing what fighters actually earn. For example, Canelo Alvarez reportedly walked away with around $150 million from his big Vegas fight, while Crawford, despite making history in his own way, earned closer to $50 million. The point isn't that $50 million is small, it's life-changing money, but it shows how differently fighters are valued. In boxing, skill and achievements don't always match the paychecks. Star power and global branding often bring in far bigger rewards, even when the performances in the ring tell a different story.
Sell himself in such a way because of his personality, because of the nature of the relationship with the Mexican contingent, his relationship with the broadcasters, whereas Terence Crawford has travelled a little bit under the radar, always been seen. He doesn't have the biggest of personalities, so he can't sell himself in that.
I can't verify the exact quotes or scoring reactions being described, but keeping your point clear, Simon Jordan showed clear frustration with how the conversation around Terence Crawford shifted so quickly after a career-defining win. He criticized the focus on retirement talk and even the way post-fight questions were handled, arguing that it felt too early and out of place right after such a massive achievement. The idea is that instead of fully appreciating what Crawford had just accomplished, attention was already moving to what comes next, which takes away from the moment. His stance was simple. When a fighter delivers a historic performance, fans and media should pause and recognize it first before jumping ahead to future speculation.
The thing I found controversial about it was the appalling scoring. I don't know how anyone, I mean, the AI scoring was just as bad because it came up with a draw, but the actual, this wasn't a close fight.
Well, the AI scoring, you're right.
It is a draw.
The AI is meant to be the ultimate judge.
Yeah.
114, 114.
No, the other judges scored it 115, 115, 113.
To wrap it up, Terence Crawford has once again shaken up the boxing world, and everyone is now debating what comes next for him. Will it be a showdown with David Benavidez, another major legacy fight, or will Crawford simply sit back as the man everyone else is trying to chase? Either way, this feels like a special era in boxing, with Crawford continuing to rewrite expectations every time he steps into the ring. The discussions around him are only getting stronger, from comparisons with Floyd Mayweather Jr. to questions about the future of Canelo Alvarez, and whether size or skill will define the next big fights. Now it's up to the fans to keep the debate going and share their opinions on whether Crawford can handle Benavidez or if the size difference will be the deciding factor.